in front of us there, I received on Tuesday the 22nd, and it's, you know, like support responsible pet ownership.
Yep.
You know, as it reads out there, you know, there's 90 million dogs and 95 million cats nationwide, and they're looking at, you know, doing, you know, things, but it's kind of hard to tell somebody, you know, you gotta spay or neuter your animal. You know, that's to each their own. Say you're not gonna breed it, and 4 years down the road you say, you know what, I love this dog so much, I'm gonna have a litter of pups so I can carry the bloodline on, and you've spayed it, or you've been forced to spay it, you can't do that. So again, like I said, and this would always be ordinance things, so I had sent a copy to Larry Lockwood, told him we talked about it at the board work session, get everybody's input on it, but just, you know, looking at that stuff, and I understand it, it's great to eliminate. I was at lunch today and the gal was talking about her cat had 3 litters before, you know, she said the first time it had a litter, she took it in to get it spayed and it was pregnant again. So they can't spay it when it's pregnant, so it had another litter, and she said, so, you know, she got the litter and stuff, time it was done feeding and stuff like that, and she went to make an appointment, the vet took it in and it was pregnant again. So, okay, so.
Promiscuous.
Yeah.
My
Just a
suggestion,
cat.
and not being a veterinarian, but my suggestion would be to give the cat a mismatch shot. Okay, and then shortly after that, have, she had 3 litters before she finally got her cat spayed, so. It happens. And then some people just let their cats run and they keep reproducing and having kittens, like the one I picked up on Hatchery Road that morning on the way into work. It was on the center line there, and I actually thought it was a baby possum. And I stopped to pick it up, and it was a cat, and Mary has that. Before I came out of my meeting that morning, I took the box out of the break room down there, the recycling box, took everything out, and took my guardian blanket and put it down in there, and put the cat in there with the lid full of water, and then I reached to put the water down, it hissed at me, I said, look, dude, you're on the center line, Hatchery Road, you're gonna get pushed by a car. Throw a little, so then gals kept coming down the aisle, so Shelley moved the box up to Carrie's office in the front, and they're all coming over, and Mary Bill Humor adopted it before I came out of the meeting. Now you gotta see pictures of it, it's spoiled rotten. It's cuddled up the dog asleep, laying across the dog asleep, it is hilarious. But again, just looking at this, the ordinances and stuff, we'd have to go and change or something like that, you know.
Yeah, I would think 3 of these should be in our ordinances already, 1, 3, and 4. You know, they
Well,
have-
it should be prohibited in all cases, but how do you know somebody abandoned an animal till you find it abandoned? You know
No, but
what
I'm saying it's probably in our ordinances already, I haven't looked at the ordinances lately. It looks like
Yeah.
all these are in there, and I think number 3, I don't know about the microchip, but licenses.
Well, licenses, but she
all
says
that in the
licenses and microchip be mandatory, but that's what
Oh.
she said, make that mandatory, but again, it's just, like I said, what, you know, I don't believe they do the microchips for free, so to
Yeah, I was
force that
gonna say,
expense
there's
on
a cost.
somebody.
If you go pick up your animal out of animal control, because I've had to do this, they make sure that it's spaded or neutered.
Yeah.
You have to sign, or they'll do it like for
Yes,
ridiculously
they are
cheap
neutered,
there.
yeah.
So
No deal.
that kind of takes care of the roaming pets, because they're supposed to pick them up.
Yeah. My first dog, I had bred to have a litter of pups, and then the second one got bred unbeknownst to me. While I was in Florida working, had a litter of 5 pups, so from that point on, they say it's best to have them come and eat once and then spay them, so that's all my dogs have been spayed since then, so. But like I said, and then roaming pets should be prohibited for the safety of the animal and the community. Yes, you know, we have an ordinance, but we don't have animal, you know, we don't have animal control officers, so that falls over on
The county comes driving in.
Correct, and they come in and pick them up. So, but again, it's all in there, but, you know, and I know that's in the ordinance, I know that is. But as far as abandoning an animal, I don't know about that. And then number 3, but making them have microchips, licenses are required to have licenses. But, you know, and then you get the 90 million dogs and 95 million cats. There's always the fight of, or the argument as well, why do dogs have to be licensed, but cats don't have to be licensed, you know, so. Talk to your state legislators and congress people and senators and everybody else that makes these big. Again, it's just, it is what it is. So is there anybody interested in pursuing this, or not looking over?
We can look
what do you
the
say?
ordinance
Should we at least, yeah,
over,
we
see
should,
if
maybe we should at least look the ordinance over and see what's there.
Okay, I sent it
See if we
to
can
Larry.
fine tune it, maybe update it.
You sent it to Larry to
I
look
sent
at
it
it.
to Larry to look at.
We'll get an
Yeah.
opinion from Larry and
Get
go
the
from there.
information, Larry, and see what we got there. But again, like I said, microchips and stuff, they're great. I know there was a guy, I don't know how it happened, he had a pointer, had a German Shorter like me, and it got lost, and a veterinarian in Tennessee called him. The chip showed up, and it's in the national system, and he called and said, we have your dog down here. You know, I said, no, he says, my dog was lost in Michigan, and apparently somebody was up here on vacation, and picked the dog up and took it back with them, and they gave the people the contact information, the people drove it back up to Michigan and brought it back to the guy. They just found it running by, just picked it up, you know.
Wow.
Didn't want to get hit by a car, and just a couple years later, he got his dog back, so those chips do work. Those chips do work, so. So there's that, and then, we'll make copies of this real quick, hand it around so everybody's got it to look at. This is for the next board meeting. So anything you guys want to talk about? Go ahead, I'll be right back.
I want to do ordinance. I do too.
You want a cloth?
Okay, grab you one too,
Okay.
please.
What?
I was gonna, are you cleaning your glasses, baby?
No,
Okay, never mind then.
He's going to get a blanket.
a quilt, not a cloth. I gotta wake up, it's gonna be a long night.
It is.
What do we think about did you see the job posting emails that we got? Like you sent one out about a voting
yeah.
person,
Yeah.
about it, because other communities are paying certain amounts.
Higher usually.
Yeah, and then we got the other one about,
The assessor
yeah, the assessor who got,
Mhm.
I mean,
poached.
I think we have to be somewhat competitive or we're not going to get qualified people.
no, understood, I mean, I don't know how that fits with what we're gonna start tomorrow.
We'll find out.
I
We'll
was gonna
discuss
say, it's
that
actually a
tomorrow.
great
Yeah, we'll
fit.
be discussing that tomorrow.
No, I figured,
Mhm. In regards to potential salary increases or wage increases for employees, he was just bringing up that
the emails that we got.
the emails that we received, you know, other areas are paying a little bit more than Waterford in some cases pay. So he was just bringing that up, just to fill in.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about it, I'm sure, in the next few days during the budget meetings. He was wondering what we thought about it, and I just mentioned that I think we need to be somewhat competitive or we won't get good qualified people.
And that makes sense.
We've had good people over the years though, and they've been really competitive. Are we losing good people because of that?
Russ would be a good
Yeah.
answer.
But
No, I'm not talking about his department, I'm talking about your elections and going back to the assessing department.
Well, it sounds like from the assessors, what she
I
said
mean,
last year, yeah,
Look
we
at the whole
are.
township and we're probably down, you know, and, 'cause I'm looking at Russ and she's shaking his head, yeah. But you could go to the police department, fire department, Margaret's department. You know, we're probably down everything, but I think that's something we need to leave and discuss for the next 2 days.
Absolutely.
But I just said we have we lost good people because of this. They've been functioning pretty well for years.
Everybody's aware that the election is a week from tomorrow.
Yes,
Yippee.
so excited.
What's that?
I said, so excited. I'm sure you are.
Yeah, basically it's the same amount of work, even if we had
I
10
don't know.
questions on the ballot.
It's just one, right?
It's just one question. Oakland Community College is asking for a millage renewal, so.
Yep. I think, I'm done with it already, actually, to be honest with you.
Sure you do your absentee.
Yes,
Yes, I did
Me
too.
too.
myself, my wife, and one of my daughters. The other one is a Texas resident now.
Oh, yeah.
She's a goner. She's not here anymore.
We are setting record numbers of ballots, absentee
How many-
ballots.
How many are you up to?
Oh, I should have checked this morning, but last week we were up to like 10,600 sent out and received back, I wanna say around 5,800 received back.
Because one year we did over 8,000.
Thank you.
Really?
Over 8,000 what?
Absentee ballots.
Oh, that'll get blown out of the water.
Yeah, we already did over 10,600, I believe, this year.
Yeah.
This isn't even a presidential election, this is a special.
Yeah, next year's gonna be more.
Yeah, more.
Yes, next year will be more, mostly. Because the proposal's free, where anyone can vote absentee.
I had a gentleman come up to me, Gary, and out in the hallway, and he says, well, is there a board meeting tonight? And I said, yes. And he says, and that the trash hauling's on the board meeting? I said, no. He says, well, I got misinformation.
It's not, but it's a time to discuss if they want.
Well,
So, thank you for cleaning.
thank God.
I have this ready to be shown tonight too.
Okay.
They did put a ad in the paper, the Oakland Press, over the weekend, Sunday paper yesterday.
Yeah.
Advanced disposals, said,
Advanced disposal.
yes, said they were leaving and to contact GFL at this 844 number, I believe it was.
Yeah, but, yeah, this year, the number that's on here, the 248-2046-756, a dedicated line to Waterford Township customers on it. So, and again, there have been people that called in because, again, they've been inundated with calls, and, you know, the call center, I know the initial call center, there's 12 people out, and they couldn't get through, and then it's been, I had an easy day, I only had 23 phone calls today, so, Shelley has been inundated with telephone calls, nonstop, and, I'm glad she don't have as much of me in her as. She's got enough, she's not to be a doormat, but she handles herself very well, so, but it just, a vast majority of the calls, the people are very understanding, they say, look, you know, I understand what happened, we gotta have a garbage carrier, so that's, you know, that's what they're gonna do, so. I know at first kids were taking some, but I think they got enough that they expanded their, as far as they could go. TNR just wanted the Clintonville and Walton corridor, so not knowing where the people were calling from, going to that, we took that out the list, and the rest is mid-GFL, so they got an online portal set up, and then, but there are still some people that don't go online, and they don't pay by credit card, they pay by check, and they want to talk to somebody live and get the information. There's will be a couple people from GFL at the board meeting, and they can sign people up if they want to.
Oh, good.
And then also the suggestion was made that possibly if people want to just come by the township, drop off their check and their information, their address and pick up information, then the end of the week, GFL will come in, like Thursday, come in and collect them, give me a chance to process them on Friday and get them set up for next week. So this is gonna be a little bit of a problem at first, and
Did they say when they're gonna stop the yard waste pickup yet?
It's always November 1st, I think.
no.
December.
Is it December?
Yeah.
December, yes.
And what about-
Typically, it's the last Friday in December, not December 1st, the last Friday,
Okay.
the first week of December.
Yes.
And then, I think the
Is GFL doing it?
stipulation for this temporary pickup is 10 bags.
10
Yes,
bags. Well,
yes.
Advance was
Maximum
8,
10 bags.
they're going to 10, yeah.
I had a neighbor that called today
to switch. And GFL said that they would take them on, but they have no more containers.
Correct.
But
You're
they
gonna
told
use-
us too.
You're
So,
gonna use your existing containers or bagged
yes,
at the
and that's
curb.
what they told them.
And they are
Yes.
going to buttload the trucks, these aren't gonna be,
Right. Then he called Waste Management, and Waste Management told him that he had to pay for the contract here, and the township would be refunding the money. The first, and I said, no, so I called Waste Management, and the person I spoke to said, no, we're not taking any new customers at all from Waterford. So I don't know who he
Well,
talked
you
to.
just-
I said, we are not refunding money.
some of the stories you get, and I just don't know if the people didn't hear it right. I know people get confused sometimes, I know that's hard to fathom, but it just, so some of it doesn't make sense, but again, I probably have called my contact people at GFL probably 2 or 3 times a day as this stuff comes in, just keeping them updated on it, and them trying to update the system to get the glitches out of it. I know the most recent one we got was the people that are signing up online are not getting pickup dates, so they gotta fix that and then go back into the ones that have and send them their pickup dates, but they got their information now, so it's gonna be a problem for a couple weeks, but it'll all work out, so.
So I received containers because I was an advanced person, and I did receive containers from GFL. And then I had talked to the GFL people, Mary Jo, and she said I was not supposed to receive any new containers yet.
I have seen this.
So she said that the service people, she was going to contact the service people and tell them not to take out any containers because we were going to have our own containers for Waterford
We'll
Township
have some
with our logo,
right.
yes.
Well, this says something, and I'm not sure what it'll be, but yeah. No, but I just noticed this past week, going to and from lunch or going to and from meetings, I've seen more of the bright green dumpsters along the road. I'm assuming, I don't get out and drive around during the day, but they stick out those bright green containers. I say, holy cow, it's overcast, look at that, there's a Martian down there, it's bright green, but it just, they're bright green containers, they really stand out.
Glow in the dark.
And I've seen, yeah, and in the daylight, and at dusk, and at dawn, but yeah, no, but it just seems like I've noticed more of them this past week. So, but yeah, but they've been telling everybody, and like I said, Shelley has literally been, Monday, she was here till 7:30, I sent her home, I left here at 8:45, got all the calls returned. Arlene Ward stayed Tuesday and Wednesday, returning calls, and I think on Thursday, they had a couple other people stay over to read, so we could get all the calls returned for the end of the day, and that was like Shelley returning calls, myself returning calls, but it's been nonstop. They said vast majority of the people were very understanding, but there are the ones that are very, 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 very upset, so they just are. And the rationale I've been using and explaining to people is when the vote went on the ballot in 1998, there was one municipality that abutted the border of Waterford Township that had single source carrier, and that was the city of Pontiac, and they had their own disposal company within the city government. They did their own, the city of Pontiac did their own garbage disposal package, but it has since gone away, okay? Now, here we are 21 years later, 2019, and there's only one municipality that abuts our border that doesn't have single hauler, and that's Independence Township. And I know they've talked about it, if they're doing anything with that. And there are other ones up to Orion Township and Rochester Hills and Commerce Township and Highland Township that have all gone to single haulers. And every one that has been done by a vote, a city council or a township board. It was never a ballot issue. You know, and again, like this week here, people are aware, we're gonna make decisions on an $86 million budget here in Waterford Township. $86 million budget, that's what budget hearings are this week. You combine all the budget in the township, it's $86 million. How you look at it. You know, there's a lot of tough decisions that we have to make, and this, as I said, this isn't a tough decision. And thank God, the Summit Place Mall has been demolished, because now that the mall is demolished, you know what the number one complaint is? The condition of subdivision streets. And you guys all know, if you want to get your subdivision street repaved, what are you going to do? You're going to do an SAD through RCOC, and you're going to pay on it for 10 years unless you got the money to front it. and save the 6% interest, or compounded off of a lesser amount for 10 years, or the roads stay the same. That's the other one. The number 2 complaint is the amount of garbage trucks people have going through their subdivision or neighborhood or association, whatever they choose to call it, during the course of the week. That's another complaint here. The number 3 complaint I hear is the amount of school buses that go to neighborhoods. Well, I'm sorry, children have to have a safe passage to and from school to get educated. So, like it or not, the buses have to transport the kids. And Waterford Township was designed back in the day when we had 20 elementary schools that were virtually in neighborhoods, where kids in grade school didn't have to ride a bus back in the day. Now they're down to 9. But when there was 28 elementary schools, they were in neighborhoods, or like Montita, you had to cross Crescent Lake Road to get there, but they came pouring out of the toilet bowl sub into there, and then they came from the Marlington sub, and they came from the Ridge Top sub, and that, but everybody was, just walking, you were crossing Hatcher, you were crossing Crescent Lake Road, or you were crossing Tubbs Road to get there, but it just, but the grade schools, that's what it was, but you didn't have the buses in grade schools back in the day. It was, middle school and high school, excuse me. I'm not aging myself, junior high and high school. But it just, like you said, but there's people that get upset about the buses, and the one said today, she called and said, yeah, but it was one thing she complained about amongst 40 or 50 other things, there were 40 or 50 miles an hour. Okay. So what our police department is doing now, I'm gonna refer to it as blind readers. I don't know if it's, but it no longer lights up. Slow down, like the old ones did.
Right.
They're there, but it records silently. So people don't see it and then slow down until it goes away, and then they speed back up again. So they're putting out the blind readers, so they are getting accurate counts, and they're doing them, not the school years back, they're doing it in the school districts, the school zones where people are calling in to complain. Like here, it's the head of traffic is at midnight, traffic division, he gets them put out on the midnight shift, and they're there. It's on a pole, but it doesn't light up, it just reads, it tells the information data is what it is. So the first one was Waterford Carrying High School, and I got a list on there. The fastest car was 48 miles an hour, and it's a Waterford police officer responding to a call. So that was the fastest call. And they went back, they said they're pretty sure it was, they looked in dispatch, yeah, it was. So that was a 48 miles
The
an
one,
hour.
you're talking about the street with the bumpers, the speed bumps,
No,
Waterford Tavern,
no,
okay.
no, that's Van Zandt. They had it on Van Zandt. That's where the complaints were.
Oh,
Van
there,
Zandt's.
okay, the cut through, okay.
They came into my office and talked to myself and Chief Underwood, and they just.
Since it's really fast to go on bumpers.
You got the first street that comes, you come around off Kettering Drive and go on Van Zandt.
Oh,
The
yeah.
first street that goes to the left there. There was a gal on that street and a guy on Van Zandt, but
Yeah, that's been a complaint for a long time.
there wasn't, and then the police department, went over and they did enforcement, no tolerance, and, First Street people they ticketed were not students.
No, I don't think so.
I won't say who they were because we're on TV, but they weren't students, so. But again, it's just, people drive over the speed limit, but these are driving 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, okay, that's pretty fast, especially in a 25-mile-an-hour zone. The typical traffic is 8 miles an hour over, that's a typical, people typically drive 8 miles an hour over the speed limit, they do. Subdivision streets, it's not good in any street, but subdivision streets. But then you look, we talked to the road commission, we had the meeting with them, and this isn't picking the road commission. Now that Jano Adams School is gone in Clintonville, Independence is 45 miles an hour down to Man Road, and then Man Road south to Walton is 35. They want to make that a 45-mile-an-hour zone. But in the same breath, they want to put a roundabout in at Man Road in Clintonville, and roundabouts slow traffic down, I believe.
Yeah.
So, and then you take Clintonville out to Walton, and Walton is 40 miles an hour, and it's a 5-lane road, and this is a 2-lane road with residential up and down both sides of it, except for an occasional business, you know what I'm saying? That's it. So, I'd rather keep it at 35, because at 35, people are driving 43, you know what I'm saying, at the 8 over, so again, it's just trying to think rationally, and, but just looking at different things. So if you take it to 45, maybe people will be driving 53, and that's way too fast for that road. So again, just looking at different things. I'm babbling on and on, but it just, different things that come up, people are concerned about. But again, going through this, everybody look through this. This is what basically some of the stuff, and then Shelley has a list of bullet points, I think she's printing them out too. But, again, this will be on the board tonight, at the board, you know, and everybody can see it ahead of time.
Just out of curiosity, GFL knows that Advance dropped 11,000 customers.
Oh, yeah.
Does GFL, do they keep account on how many new customers they have yet? No?
I don't,
they
I'm not in the data system there, Joe. So you understand, when we had the follow-up meetings on the single carrier contracts, I did say to GFL, it's a situation arises
Right, can you?
where Advanced Disposal decides to drop their customers, to say, the biggest customer base, are you guys in a position to pick them up? They say yes, but it'll be a 30 to 45 day transition period.
Okay.
Okay, not knowing when that's gonna happen, you know what I'm saying? How do you tell somebody that you don't have a
Right.
contract with until March 30th of 2020 to get all your people lined up and get a call center set up and do this? And how do you do that? I mean, nothing's happened to warrant that yet. The
Right.
possibility, I felt it was possible.
No.
I believed it would be the end of the year, simply because I'm gonna guess the vast majority of their customers were prepaid to
Through that,
December 31st. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know that, but a lot of the people I called, were upset because how are we gonna get our money back now? I said, you're gonna have to work that out, and I know that, I think the last I heard is Advance is gonna mail the money out the third week of November. I think that was what, you hear so many different things, it's hard to process all of them in routine.
So they just need to refund 2 months.
Okay, but
January 1st to March 30th?
Oh, I was just doing
No, no.
November and December.
through the end of the
Oh,
year.
it's the end of the year, I'm sorry, I thought you.
Yeah, 12/31/19, but again, but again, and I'm looking at this from a business standpoint, okay? This isn't fashion, Advanced Disposal, that knows they're a lot more successful than I am, but you've got customers prepaid to the end of the year to pick up their garbage. You make money picking up garbage. But you drop all those people, and now you gotta go to the expense of writing all those checks. All the envelopes to put them in,
Stamps.
all the postage, which is good, helps fund my wife's pension. She's retired in the post office. And then staff help to do all that. And then I'm assuming they have been inundated with telephone calls down there too. I don't know that, but I'm assuming they've had several phone calls to make sure that this letter being sent out isn't some type of conspiracy or something, you know, but it just,
No, I just think
So
this is
I
a
just-
retaliatory move.
Oh, I'm gonna take my ball and go home. I'm
Yeah.
mad at you guys, I mean,
Yeah.
kind of, for 5 months, that's probably $2 million, just
Oh,
shy
sure.
of $2 million that they're losing.
I did the numbers.
But I don't know if you guys knew, but they wanted us to give their employees bonuses, so they wouldn't go to GFL.
That was one of the proposals.
You guys didn't know that, $3,000 piece, 35 people. Absolutely not, Greg, we're not giving
It's
them.
105,000.
You know, it is rumored that Independence is looking at doing that. If I was in a municipality that was looking, there'd be no way I'd even
I
consider
wouldn't consider
Advance.
these guys for
After
nothing.
this,
No, but again, like I said, it just, but it is what it is. And again, like I said, but there was negotiation between Advance and GFL.
Yeah,
And the way I understood it, Advance sent out a letter, and I tweaked the water part of it, GFL tweaked that, they revised it and did another letter, and it was okay, but it was just basically, Advance was, making themselves out to be a victim per se, you know what I'm saying? So that's the way it was gonna be, so then, and GFL and Advance were negotiating for a period of time, I don't know the exact amount of days, but Thursday the 17th, I came out of a meeting that night at 7 o'clock, and there was a message on my cell phone from my contact person, Advanced Disposal, saying the deal had fell apart, and it was no longer were they gonna send the list to GFL of the customer list. And GFL was not buying their containers, which was less than 1,000 customers had containers, and the deal was dead. The letter was at the printer, it would be mailed up Monday morning. Well, about 10 o'clock Friday morning, a resident stopped by and hand-delivered me a letter to the counter. And it was tri-folded, worded in an envelope, so he says, quick mail service here. I asked my wife, I said, I'm glad you retired. Geez, you'd have to pick up the mail and process it and get it back and deliver by 10 in the morning.
keep up with
And
the
you go to
schedule.
work at 8. You're too old for that, you can't do it anymore. But it just, so I'm just saying, so they had mailed it out already. But a lot of the people, somebody came to the counter this morning, they didn't get theirs till Friday last week, so. And it was, said they got their government, got their mail, but we were closed, so they came in this morning and.
Some condo
Yeah, well,
associations
so-
have not received their money.
Yes,
Well,
I had
then,
heard
then,
that.
then I'm gonna
I heard
imagine
that.
there's people they're gonna miss. And periodically, a letter probably gets lost in the mail or gets delayed or.
And they did put an ad in the paper over the weekend,
Right, you said there, yep, but
said to
again.
go to GFL,
They're
advance.
spending a lot of money on losing money.
But
They
I'm just
are
saying,
spending a
And I'm not
lot.
sure, but I believe the agreement probably was that, you know what, we're gonna mail the letters out and GFL will pay for the cost of the letters going out to
Without my
notify the
mind.
customers, So, and again, I can understand that, but again, like I said, it was a done deal, then it wasn't a done deal, so it just,
More importantly, they probably paid for a license through fiscal year, right? Through 12/31?
Cool.
Waste management.
Wait,
Advance.
well,
Advance.
advance,
yeah.
right? I mean, they all have to buy a license to
Well, they
pick
can
up.
still pick up, pick up dumpsters,
Yes.
construction site dumpsters, commercial dumpsters, apartment complex dumpsters, they can still pick that stuff up. And if you go over to the police department,
Right.
you'll see 2 advanced disposal of dumpsters over there. Advanced disposal dumpsters in the VFW, correct?
You know, I'm not sure.
That's your
Yeah.
dumpsters. Advanced disposal still does our recycling down in the parking lot the first Saturday of the month, so I
And they
mean,
haven't said anything about stopping any of that.
I haven't heard anything about it, that this is simply
Residential.
curbside, single-family residential, that's it, there's nothing more than that, so.
Their argument, the reason they're leaving us so quickly, because GFL is offering more money to their employees and stealing their employees, and they're going to GFL.
Right.
Which, I talked to all my guys, pick up my trash, they saw 2 guys quit.
Okay, the number
GFL.
here was Tuesday or 2, on Friday, the day after I got the call, it was dead, the number is to 3, Monday it was at 5. I think the customer base is 180, or employee base.
35 was it, for Waterford?
I forget how many.
I thought it was 35.
Well, they're out of that yard over there in Clarkston.
Oh, well, it's probably a lot more than that, then.
Yeah, they're.
I thought 35,
I
employees
don't
served
have,
Waterford.
yeah, but the region is 3 something, but I,
Right,
but
300 something in the
but out of that,
region.
Yeah.
over there, but again, like you said, there's days as a rough carpenter, 6, 7-man crew, we only had 4 guys in the job. We still framed, we still worked, we still got done what we could get done. You do what you have to do, you gotta, and this is like, I never got prepaid for a job in my life, ever, under contract. Yeah, I'll frame your house, you pay me, and then I'll decide whether I'm gonna do it or not, and then I'll refund. No, it didn't work that way. You framed the house, you got done. They hired you, you're gonna do a good job building their house, and they're gonna hold up their end, and they're gonna pay you for doing a good job building a house. That's why I did it for, the 40 and a half years I was in the construction business, but that's how it worked. But these people are prepaid and they're dumping them. And I just, from a business standpoint, I don't understand it.
That's
It
so
was
strange.
1.66 mil, from what I currently pay over 5 months for 11,000 customers, like $1.66 million.
This is just shy
They're
of
walking
2,
away from.
about
1.66.
little over 1.5 mil.
And I
What's the
just-
reason, what I was told is that they have other customers they have to service, seeing that the customers, their employees from Waterford were on one GFL, well, we ain't got enough people to service Waterford and our other customers, so we're gonna move our employees to the other areas that we're servicing, which doesn't make no sense. It sounds like sour grapes, and I heard them crying, saying that the bid process was BS, and they didn't, well, you guys all seen the bids, they didn't fill everything out. That's what I tried to explain. We didn't have a chance to sit down and talk. Are you kidding me? GFL did it right.
We had the pre-meeting with
I
all
know,
the.
Gary,
all
I
the
know,
carriers.
that's what they,
And what
you said to me.
they all agreed on what they would, they wanted to bill, not be put on tax bills, they wanted to bill direct, and we can't really do it in 4 days, we need to do it in 5, it's too big of a customer base. We went over and rewrote the ordinance and the bid specs,
It's
That's
true.
all I
because
know.
of that
and
meeting.
gave them
I
to
know.
them, had them
But that
print up
was
and
one
gave
of
them
their-
before we left the
That was
meeting.
what they're crying about, they didn't have a chance.
But I'm just
You know,
saying, it
yeah,
was, everything was agreed upon by everybody, and
I agree, I know it
Well,
was done right.
typically, if you're applying for a job and you don't fill out the application correctly, you don't get
You
a
don't
call
get the
back.
job.
right.
It's that simple. They probably thought that they were the big boys in town and, hey, we're gonna give it to them, but it didn't work that way, cause there was a process that you had to go through. You had to fill your application out right, or,
It's
it was
the
getting-
first
It
step.
was getting tossed out.
I believe they also got 5 rated for Better Business Bureau, or failed.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
they did have.
I know,
I believe in.
as
They did
far as
have
people
that.
coming to
Yeah.
board meetings, there was several of them that voiced their opinion, did not like advanced disposal. I never had a minute's trouble with them
I never
ever.
did
Since they
either.
took over, I've never had a minute's trouble. I pushed the envelope one time and put out 12 bags and they took 11. And I think that they got thinking, I know we loaded over 8, so they left one behind. But I just know that they
As a
either be
message.
carrying, I'll be carrying 4
Now.
back up or, no, but I end up carrying 1 back up. But I got 12 bags, they reeked. They just reeked. You know, the grass getting sour and stuff. I got 15 bags in my garage right now, but they're all white pine needles, so they don't smell too. They don't have that sour smell to them, but it just. But again, like I said, I never ever had 1 minute's trouble ever with advanced disposal from the get-go. So again, there was people said they did, and you know, just take people for their word. But
Okay, what days are your pickup gonna be? You're in a different part of township, mine's gonna be on Fridays.
Thursdays.
Thursdays?
How do you know
Thursdays.
that?
Okay.
They gave me a date.
How do you know that?
Because we already
November
called,
7th.
we already prepaid for
There
it.
was a website.
Oh,
I think this is
Friday.
just
What's the
filling
website of the
in.
map?
This
And I
isn't for the
clicked right
eternity
on it,
one.
and it took
Oh.
This is just the
yeah,
short
but
term.
My wife did,
I
I
think
just was
everybody else can
curious.
do that too, but they're not, you know, they're just, that they go that far now. So yeah, it is, it's right there. You click your location, there you are. I did mine, I don't go on the website, so I did it by a phone call, a check, US Postal Service mailed it out in Thursday, so
How
Yeah,
many
I-
customers does Waste Management have in the township?
I don't know.
Too many.
Because,
That's why they're not taking anymore.
yeah, but they haven't said anything. They're gonna
No, I
continue
just
doing
called
what they're doing.
today and they said that I don't think they've discontinued their customers, but they're not taking any.
They're not
New
taking any more
customers.
new ones on, they're gonna
But
carry.
that's okay, they're gonna honor the customers they have and the contracts they have.
That's how you do it, that's how.
Exactly, I don't
The biggest
understand.
waste hauler in the United
And if
States.
Advanced and Waste Management merge, they should take on the Waste Management name.
That was another name that the woman said today, she says, they're signing the contract as we speak, she
They
said.
are, huh?
I said, they are. I says, who are they? She says, Waste Management and Advance. I says, really? I said, well, how do you know that? I got a cousin that works there and they're almost complete on the deal. Well, if they aren't complete on the deal, then they're not signing the contract as we speak. I heard it's gonna commence in the first quarter of 2020, but that said, you seem to be very well informed, so I'm not gonna argue with you. So she laughed. I said, that's good, you're laughing. She says, you seem to be a know-it-all. I said, I'm not a know-it-all, but I know enough about you.
This guy,
She's a regular. No, as she said, yes, we're done talking. I said, well, I'm looking forward to your clip. She says, bye, Gary. Click.
She's a regular.
You know, there are some people in the world that the sun never shines.
True.
Nothing's good, it's all bad. Nobody's good, they're all bad. I've had a half dozen people, they're lining our pockets, we're getting kickbacks. we're doing
Kickbacks,
this.
yeah.
One
Oh,
guy
yeah.
called the other day, big time contractor, big, I mean big time, big, really big. And he hauls this stuff and throws it in a dumpster, and he's not gonna pay for it, and he's gonna talk to his attorney and take care of this. I said, well, okay, so your attorney fees will probably cost you what your first 5 years of contract would be with GFL, but forget about that. I said, and you're so busy, I said, why don't you all check on all your jobs, and I'm sitting there on the phone talking to me,
He's big. Yeah.
big.
Can I ask a question?
This typically isn't Q&A, but sure.
I'm sorry.
No,
Is the contract signed with GFL?
contract is
Yes.
signed, yes it is.
Okay.
Yep, contract is signed.
Well, we talked to a few ladies today and they said when they called up, GFL told them that it wasn't written in stone.
It wasn't written in stone.
On
Was
the
yeah,
contract.
You know, that's the old saying that they haven't signed the contract.
yeah, no, contract, I signed it, so I know it's signed.
That's what I thought.
No, I signed it.
Okay, I just,
And to the best of my knowledge, they've been in and picked it up already, so, yep, they have a signed contract. We have a copy of
when
it.
somebody tells me that, I'll say.
Well, again, and like I said, there's people saying things that are not necessarily truthful, you know what I'm saying? And they're not lying, they just don't have all the information,
Well,
so it
I've come
doesn't
to the
come out.
meetings here, so I know a little bit that's going on, so
Right, yeah, no, the contract's been signed, yep.
thank you.
Yep. So anyways, it could be an interesting board meeting tonight. And,
National Guard. not gonna be here.
I'm tough, I'm thick-skinned, I can take the questions,
Is,
but,
is Scott Underwood gonna be here?
yeah, Underwood will be here, yeah, undercover.
Gary, would you like,
Undercover.
is there, I offered this by email, I mean, is there anything, now that we have something solid that we can all tell people, is there any way we can take some of that burden from you? Sure. I can make a few phone calls to return calls and stuff. I mean.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's just, it amped down till this morning, and then today it just, I mean, Friday was pretty quiet around.
Tell Shelley not, you know, tell her not to be afraid to, you know, send me. I can squeeze a few phone calls in during the day and just
Yeah.
let people know that,
No, I can never.
you know, we're trying to get back, or even
We're all
an
gonna
email
be
or
here
two.
tomorrow and Wednesday, we can take a couple during lunch. There's a phone room, we can
Yeah,
all
make
be.
sure your mouth's full of food while you're talking.
If there's gonna be a food truck, we can take them outside and, you know.
I don't know what's on the menu for tomorrow, but Wednesday is Bushimi's pizza and salad.
The other time is some type of subs, the one up on the corner, Jimmy John's, I think.
Jimmy John's or Jersey Mike's?
Jimmy John's,
Jimmy
I
John's,
believe.
okay.
Oh, that's
No, just tell her if she wants a break, you know, she can reach out and say, so-and-so, and here's their phone number, so-and-so, here's their phone number, so-and-so, here's their phone number, and I can write them down and get to them sometime throughout the day or whatever.
I left Friday at 6:15 and she was still here.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, just,
I don't mind doing that.
And they get emails too.
I thought, yeah, I mean, emails is another thing, I mean, we can have something that's pretty basic that we can send out, and I'm sure she probably already does. I've seen pretty much the same response on a couple of different things,
right?
so, I'm just throwing it out there again, that's all, I mean.
But again, like you said, this, and hard enough, people aren't gonna vote for me, they aren't gonna do this, they aren't gonna do that. And I truly believe the reason this never got on is it was politically motivated. People were fearful if they did something to this, they wouldn't get reelected. Well, okay, you don't make decisions, I don't make decisions that way. Again, the voters are gonna vote whoever they wanna vote for. And if you're so narrow-minded, you can only concentrate on one thing. And you look, I look where Waterford was in November 20th, 2012, when I came into office, I look where it's at today, across the board.
This is definitely the right thing to do.
It is the right thing.
There's
Should have
no
done
question
It should
whatsoever.
have been.
We-
done.
And this is proof, would you
Biggest
really
time.
wanna do business with a firm that just did what they did?
Us being, well, again,
Me,
us
they
being
shot
the most
themselves in the
populated
foot.
township in Oakland County, we should have been ahead of the curve rather than the back.
Exactly.
So it just,
Right,
it's,
absolutely.
and I would be hard pressed to find another municipality in Oakland County whose subdivision streets are any worse than ours.
Well, if in fact Waste Management is buying them, wait till you see what happens to Waste Management's bills a year and a half from now, and we just locked in a contract for 5 years.
Right. And that's
Way
another
ahead of the
thing,
game.
people are upset about the 5-year contract, again, but again, you wanna lock the price down.
Yeah.
You're gonna sign a 1-year contract and have have a company come back there and say, oh, by the way, we're raising prices 50%.
Absolutely.
You
But
can't
my
do
friend
that.
did say that they just got notice that Advance was raising theirs to 110 per quarter. And then they canceled, like, then they're like, we're out of Waterford, so.
Right.
But yeah, they were at 85 and it just went to 110.
Yeah, I was
They live
paying,
in Waterford?
Yeah,
I'm
I was
glad-
paying 89.44 is what I was paying.
That's what I was
So
paying.
just
and
round
then
it-
she just got a
rounded
notice
up
right
to
before they
90.
canceled.
That's 30 a month. GFL's charging 33, so that's, you know, that's, I understand that 33 is 10% more than 30. I understand that, I can do the math, but still, it's for 5 months, and then you go into 37.76 a month unless
Right.
you want recycling, so.
Well, we'll be over this.
Oh, yeah, yeah, but
Yeah,
again, like I
it's-
said,
No
You-
good
you-
deed goes unpunished.
things are gonna be contentious,
No.
there may be people that say
My mom.
things that, you know, don't.
She's right.
And I can hear the same
She's
thing
still
too.
laughing.
I'm not gonna vote for you.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
gonna
started to see
I'm
these
gonna vote
emails,
for
I
it.
just, I
Because
thought
like
of
you
her
said, remember that
instantly.
narrow-minded,
Yeah, have her
look
make
at the
some
big
calls.
picture, what's happened since.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
could make one big one.
Since 10 when I got it, yeah, it's like a different community.
She used to say that all the time.
Really?
And like I said,
Never
the
fail.
vast majority of people call, they are very courteous.
Yep.
They're asking questions, they're not making accusations, you know?
Oh,
But there are some
that's
people that are upset, and I understand that. I told the one guy, I said, look, I said, you're talking about you as an individual. We have to look at 74,000 residents of Waterford Township. We have to make a decision what we feel is best for an entire community. And no, I didn't say it was gonna fix the subdivision streets. But when you do fix your subdivision streets, you're gonna have less wear and tear on it because you're only gonna have 3 trash trucks a week in the warm weather months, 2 in the cold weather months, rather than however many you had before. So I have not paid attention to garbage trucks since I got out of construction, but I know on my subdivision, 2 streets, back then it was 31 houses, now it's 33. They built 2 new ones since, but there was 5 haulers 4 days a week.
Oh, yeah, we have,
That's
haulers
15
every
trucks.
day
I
of the
got
week.
5
Thursday.
haulers, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Right, right,
This-
I
this-
think that's.
This was
On
15
Man
trucks
Road.
a week, and I didn't, up on the road, said, geez, how many garbage trucks is that today? But again, it's nothing against garbage trucks. Those people work their butts off, those guys
Oh,
are hard workers.
absolutely.
You bet
That's
they
their
are.
job. I'm not attacking garbage truck drivers or the employees. It's the amount that are in the neighborhood is not necessitated, it's not. That would be like saying, I'm gonna pour a 20-yard driveway and I'm gonna have them bring 10 concrete trucks with 2 yards in each truck. Rather than 2 trucks with 10 yards and you're done, you know what I'm saying? So
Trucks would be lighter.
they'd be lighter, but they're still.
There's not certain areas like my neighborhood,
2 yards away.
I see trash out in front of people's house all week long.
You got to have
At
trash
least
in the
one or
curb
two.
all week long. You
Oh,
do.
there's trash bins
I
all
just
the
can't believe the
time,
company
yes.
would
And
do
down, up and down the street, so we
I
just
just-
knock
Can't believe a
it.
multi-state
We're way
company would
behind
do
the-
that.
They're
The
spending
8 ball
money
on
to
this,
lose
we should have
money.
done this a long time ago.
It should have
I
been a
don't know,
long time.
what-
But
you
again,
think
there
that's
was
gonna
that-
change our minds
There
though?
was the fear
It
of.
just means we'll never, ever go with
I
them. I
did
mean,
hear
there's no
when they
way.
did,
And if anything, they're
the
sending a
election,
message
the
to the
vote,
other communities like,
1980,
don't,
just to get a
don't
feel of what the
contact
people
me.
I
wanted.
gotta,
You know, they weren't
I gotta
necessarily
think if
gonna
anybody
move
else
on.
is
Yeah.
looking at this and they're looking
But
at
then
them
you
for a
get
bid.
people out and I'll say,
See you later.
I get to get reelected, I get to get reelected, so don't make any
No, wait,
decisions
wait,
that might
yeah,
ruffle
from
some
last year.
feathers.
God.
I don't care what you do, you're gonna ruffle somebody's feathers.
Absolutely.
You're gonna ruffle somebody's feathers.
You're not gonna make
Just-
everybody happy. If you think you're gonna make everybody happy,
I ruffle feathers the
wrong
minute I
business.
wake up every day.
Yeah.
It just happens.
absolutely.
There are people that could have framed their house for free, especially if it was a remodel. You made too much noise, you created too much dust, you got here too early, you guys talk too loud. The saws, the air compressor, they're all too loud. I mean, just, okay, but it's just, you know, this is a quiet job. This is a noisy job. You know, but again, it just, some people will find something to complain about.
I got
Just-
customers, I could pay them and still come get complaints from, so, you know, it's just what happens when you deal with the public. You're not gonna make everybody happy.
I had a woman come out one morning, she bit my head off, she said, what is wrong with you? Well, she said, every morning you show up here, you're whistling. I said, you don't want to hear me sing, I have a horrible singing voice, so I whistle instead. Well, I wish you would knock it off, that it bothers me, okay?
Definitely
I
not.
tried to remember while I was in that job, not to whistle when I got there this morning. When she left for work, I would whistle, so. But it just,
On another note, I was going over Gary Dobry's letter about the medical or the marijuana, and I called the woman from MTA.
yes,
So I think we already know this, if we do nothing for medical, we're opting out. If we do nothing for recreational, that means we're opting in.
we opted out of
We
recreation.
opted
So,
out.
okay, then that's what I
Recreation.
needed to do.
May
If we do
26th,
nothing for,
Yep,
now, Gary Dobry alluded to that we are exempt from a referendum, the way that I interpreted this, because we're a
Right, I read
township.
that.
I read that.
She said that that is not the case. It's all up to legal interpretation.
Right,
So if we opt out of medical, they still can get together a percentage of voters and put it on the ballot.
yep,
And I talked about us creating an ordinance in the event of, and she said that would be a good proactive measure. If you know that there's a group of people getting signatures, have everything in row to institute it, and I said, would that prevent it? She goes, it's a legal question.
right. It's, again, like it's all,
She goes, but it would be a good proactive measure because you would have something in place to at least go to court over before them saying this is gonna be it.
Right.
So, but anyway, we are not exempt from a referendum.
no, I know we're not.
And that's what I thought he was alluding to.
I thought he was saying we were, based on what,
Yeah, that's what I thought too, so that's why I called.
Had Shelley send you guys?
yeah, I was like,
That's
wait a
why
minute.
I called. And that's, she said, you're not exempt. Townships are not exempt.
Did she send you any of that documentation?
No, I just, no.
Okay.
I said that I was reading the letter that our attorney had with her and this is, yeah. And she said, you're not exempt.
I will take that up with him after budget's on Thursday.
She said it's a legal question,
It is legal, and again, it's
but
legal.
nowhere does it say that it's a percentage of voters can still get together and put it on the ballot. Can they mandate how many you have?
If laws were cut
It's-
and dried, you wouldn't have
It's a
attorneys and
legal
prosecutors, you
interpretation,
wouldn't.
right?
You just
I
wouldn't.
think we should opt out and say, should a referendum be done, they can only be placed here, here, and there.
Well,
Can you do that though? I don't know if you can do that.
You can,
No,
what
you can create districts and distances
Distance,
away from
distances.
churches, residential,
Yes,
government, and education.
schools, right.
so
you
I
can do
think it would be.
What about roads with certain amount of traffic and things like that?
Well, you
Well,
can do
Orion
that,
did
but
that.
again, like I
No,
said,
they did do that.
I'd say we
They
try.
but Orion did it on a road that is a cut through a road or it goes to General Motors, that's it, he doesn't like, they didn't do it on 24, I'll guarantee you that.
Right.
And we aren't gonna do it on 59 or Dixie or Walton Boulevard either, because there's so much traffic on those roads. You know, what are you gonna do, go out and restrict the amount of traffic you got on your roads too? That's what I'm saying, it's just
Right,
so,
goes on and on
that's,
and on.
that's a tough one in that regard, where they did that, that's basically, they rebuilt that road to accommodate General Motors Orion plant, so.
I think we should capitalize on
industrial
the
park.
idea that Pontiac's probably gonna have them, and maybe they won't do a referendum here just because
Oh,
they're
they'll
gonna
do
be that
one.
close.
And so she said it, that to have an ordinance ready to go is a good proactive.
Yep.
Yeah, that's smart. No, they're gonna bring it to us, trust me. I'm getting all kinds of phone calls, people inquiring about it, I can see it happening.
So soon we get through budgets, guess what the next topic is?
Let's make an ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah, let's make an ordinance, that's what I'm thinking too.
Let's
I
do
think
it.
so too, and let's
Let's
try
be
it.
proactive.
If it's gonna go to court, let's at least put our best foot forward.
Okay, so the next board
Give
work
us something to
session, we're
fight.
gonna have to make sure, in the meantime, I'll get some stuff sent out to everybody. Reply it individually, get your ideas in, what you know, distances and stuff you want, so we can put that together, so we come to the next meeting. We're not sitting there with half of us on board and half of us not on board. Everybody's input, what we're gonna do, how we wanna do it, because we're running out of time.
For the last work session,
Yeah.
I had a lot of, I mean, we had
Larry Lockwood's gonna look into
Lake
it.
Orion's ordinance.
Yes, we did.
I had the MTA mock ordinance that they had sent out
Yes.
Alright.
a year ago. There's like
Yeah.
3 or 4
We
good
could-
reference materials.
Karen, you and I
just-
could probably put something together almost from that
That's true.
information.
Okay, do
Just
that.
copy and
Yeah,
paste
so
something
you
and get
guys-
started, yeah.
Give us an example and a start, I mean, we can, you know, to start talking about it.
Yeah, at least get a mock-up
See what,
of all 3 together, yeah.
does that have to be equal distances, it could be greater distances, I think the farthest way would be education away from schools.
Yeah, and that's actually a
That's
state mandate. They have dictated at least 1,000
Right.
feet from the
1,000.
school. You can make it more, but it's a
Right.
state,
Minimum of 1,000 feet.
yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, originally, when we had talked, we looked at a
Definitely
minimum of
make it more.
1,000 feet from everything.
So you two are gonna work on an ordinance? Because
Yes.
I have a map right here showing schools, government, parks, and all 1,000 feet, it's all mapped out for the whole township. If
So
you wanna
we
take
could
pictures of
do-
Is that Larry's?
it, Scott did it for me.
Okay,
Because we could do the mock ordinance, but then we'd have to do something in conjunction with Larry to see how that ordinance would fit with our current zoning and where
Right.
the spots
You
would
probably need to
be.
talk to Scott instead of Larry on this. 'Cause I
Okay.
think Scott's taking.
Okay.
We can talk to
So,
Scott.
yeah, because it would be the ordinance and then see how it fits the
but we
zoning.
need to get it introduced and get it adopted, we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Oh, we only have,
If we do it right, they'll be able to put one in the
We-
middle
we
of a
still-
lake,
we
and that'll
still
be about
can-
it.
We still can
We have
opt
2 board
out.
meetings, we have-
She said
no,
that we're,
no, we only have 2 more before the end of.
So I said 2 board meetings.
Yeah,
After
that's it.
tonight.
So we need to have one
We
done
don't-
2 weeks from now.
she said we can still, she thinks, based on what I was telling her, that it's fine to opt out. And you still can work on an ordinance and just be ready.
But my fear is if we don't have an ordinance in
In
place,
tra-
what were
yeah.
you guys opting out on? Then you opt out and then you make up this ordinance, if the ordinance isn't in conjunction with that or ahead of that.
We didn't have an ordinance
I don't
ready,
wanna
and
get
that's why
shot
we
down.
opted out.
Okay, okay.
But I mean,
don't
that's
wanna get
just-
shot.
But
Exactly
we can work on it. I don't
I
know
think
that we're
we
gonna
need to
get
have
it
an
done.
ordinance.
So come up with an
Well,
ordinance and
so-
say no, or just not do anything.
I would say not do anything, and then when we have the ordinance ready,
Is if you don't do anything,
you don't do anything, you've opted out for medical.
Mhm.
we've already opted out of recreation on the
Yes.
26th of,
Right.
Yes.
or May.
So that's when I talked to her, she said that would be a good move. Opt out, get your ordinance ready, if it looks like there's gonna be a referendum, then introduce your ordinance.
But how do we know if it's gonna be?
Well,
I mean,
I think
how-
that's
how do-
pretty.
How do we gauge that?
They
To
have
file,
to, they have to
don't they?
petition and they have to file for the next election to put it on the ballot.
There's a
Street
deadline that
elections.
it has to be.
Right.
So we put our ordinance on the books before they
After-
file?
No,
Or right after they
they
file.
filed, right after they filed, we would do our ordinance.
Would an ordinance have more power if it was done before the
That's
date?
what that's
I
what
would
I
think it was
think,
in
that's where I'm
place,
at,
yes.
yeah.
I
So,
would- You know, before we just let the date come in and
So
expect
then,
something.
do we wanna opt
We
in?
can always amend the ordinance.
Do we wanna opt in then?
well, you would have to, well,
We'd have to
How
have
do
it
you opt
in
in and
and
you
with an
avoid any
ordinance,
kind
yeah.
of a referendum or a vote?
Couldn't we just,
Cause you can opt out and then opt in, I believe.
The other thing too, didn't Larry Lockwood say that they're gonna look, at our last work session, they're gonna look at some locations that would be
Suitable,
recommended
yeah.
suitable, yeah,
for-
recommend,
Grow.
right.
And then, when they look at those, then look at distances from
Right.
the four places we talked about. But again, like I said, it's all, like I said, it's all legal, how it's in legal interpretations, how it's interpreted. And one side will say this is right, and one side will say it's
Absolutely.
wrong, it all depends if they're pro or con. You know, so to get a look at it neutral as it is, you know what I'm saying, that's pretty much what the MTA is looking at, what our attorney's looking at, was it, not Gary, it was an attorney in their firm there, he sent the information out, but it was an attorney in their firm that specializes in that, but the bottom line is, again, it just, I don't wanna put ourselves in a position to where we opt out and then they do a referendum with specifications on that referendum and it comes in and overrides what we did and they're freewheeling, doing whatever they wanna do.
I still-
But then again, if we decide that we're gonna opt in and have one, and one, and they don't like that, and they get a referendum and do it, but at least we made a decision what we thought was for
Right.
the best interest of Waterford Township.
Right.
We got overrode on it, but it was something more than nothing.
We'll have a better case in court.
Again, that's just,
I-
we did do something, but it just obviously wasn't enough. But who knows, the fact that we're the most populated township in Oakland County, and it passed 2 out of every 3 votes, you know, 2/3 majority, it just, odds are they're gonna, you know.
Although Kim and I were talking.
Distances and stuff, they won't be able to override though, right?
No, no, if we put it
So
on
I-
ordinance.
I don't know.
And we don't think we can do a, should we at some point in the future decide to issue a license for some type of medical marijuana business in the township, it would have to be blank, 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 period. And not say no, and not say yes. Just say, should we do it, it would, as a board, we, or whatever, as a township, we say it's gotta be according to these.
Gotta be a certain
Like
area.
Karen said,
Because we can
opt out
control
and then
that,
opt
and
in, but
that's what we
but
wanna
got
do.
their
See, the
December
thing
6th,
is-
the option's gone. You're either in or you're out, that's it. And I don't believe you can overturn your previous decision after that, it has to be done before that date.
And I think if we do something like that prior to the deadline, I think it'll stand up better.
We need to do it for that,
Yeah.
that's what Gary
Yeah,
has been saying.
But like I said, on Thursday, once we get through budget.
And
We already had ahead of
and once I
that.
get
Sure.
through this election,
Right, Kim's gotta
Which
get through
is
the
next
oh, an
election.
election, that's right.
so,
So then we'll go ahead and, I'll get a hold of legal counsel again and discuss that in length and see where we're at.
You guys looked at a couple different ordinances, say Ann Arbor,
Orion Township was a
Orion
decent
Township,
one,
okay.
yes. We thought Orion was pretty decent.
But like I said, they've got a very isolated
They do.
zone
They
there. It's
specifically,
just-
they have a great
It's an
area.
industrial park over there, you know.
Right.
yeah, I know.
Brown Road there, in the General Motors corridor
So-
over there, so it's just,
And you also have to be aware that the medical facilities eventually could possibly also become a recreational facility.
Of course.
right,
Right.
Mhm.
So wherever the medical facilities that we allow.
So they wanna do it further, they wanna go upstairs and.
Right. So
Have like a
Karen and I
hookah
went to
bar.
that one.
Did you go down to the place?
Yes,
We did, and it's interesting because the guy, I was very impressed with it, and the guy that was running it says the state is about 2 years away from having this figured out.
Having what figured out the whole.
How
the
the whole
legality.
system, he
Yeah,
was
but-
showing us all the, how, like, everything in the structure was messed up. And how
Did
they're
you-
correcting it, cause they're
But that's
honest,
something
upright
that's gonna
people.
continue to change.
Sure.
It'll continue.
Well, that's what he was saying, that they've got about 2 more years to work out the kinks.
Remember they had the state liquor law figured out, and then they took it back to 18-year-olds could drink, and then they
Right.
figured it out and took it back to 21s.
Right. It
Then they
changes.
changed from,
They
you
did
know,
that from 72 and changed it back in 75.
.1 to .8, or
It was
.10 to .8.
It's 72.
You're
It's turned
anemia, you know, so
18.
just, that changes, things change. You know, things, they change all the time. And the fines for selling to minors, and, you know, minors in possession, that just, again, it just, a broken law is a broken law, but they change the rules and regulations all the time, so. They'll never have this figured out, just like you get a phone there and it's the latest in technology, and then 6 months later it's obsolete because they've come up with 5,000 more things now that are better than that. And same with the computer programs and
Mhm. Yeah, it
televisions, and
changes, it evolves.
it just, everything changes and changes and changes, nothing is really, you know.
The only constant, change.
So anyways, so. Anything else? Nothing? Gotta be something interesting out there.
They're going to town over summer place.
Yeah, they're still crushing us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Like
just
crazy.
No, Brett told me today, probably 2 weeks. I seen Brett and Dave Hill going through, so I called them up and must have Robert, I told him Robert said it's been cleaned up in about 2 weeks.
How come there hasn't been a shovel on the ground over DTE yet?
Brett told me that they just released the property to DTE, I guess, very recently, so I don't know.
Well, there's,
DTE's crying, they're over budget, and
they initially come in $2 million over budget
it's 5 million
to
or
start out,
something.
and then they did not get resolved with Dr. Cadre and what he wanted over there, so they had, they were like, it was all decided, and the last I knew, they were gonna change the screening on the west side of the property, which abutted property, Cadre's 10 acres in the corner. They were gonna move a curb cut down and pay a percentage of his attorney bill, and then last I knew, he didn't like his attorney, he got rid of me, and like, and then it was done, and the deal was dead, so.
If you're going over the lot, I'd say about 80% flat.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
Corner,
It's just that
Telegraph,
one
and
corner.
Elizabeth
That's
Place.
pretty much all moved down to the
Yeah,
south
right,
end now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it looks, it's just really nice looking up there. I mean, I am just tickled pink that it's down and gone.
Yep.
You know, yesterday it was that steel stuff that I can't see with the whole property, but.
There's still a lot of steel inside, you know,
Yeah.
copper, brass, and aluminum, when that's, I'd say spiked, it went up a skosh, but that's by the pound, steel's by the ton. There's tons and tons of steel there, but you know, you're talking a pound of copper brings, you know, a significant amount of money, as does aluminum, as does brass, so they got rid of that early on. And I don't know what the prices have done on that, but
But they're
steel is just, keeps trickling down and trickling down, and, but I know the rebar, the big heavy rebar, that's top quality steel, that stuff they're gonna get, as they break it out, they're hauling that out, they're getting rid of that, so, cause it's bringing a better price, but.
Yeah, they're moving along real good with that. The BP gas station opened up, I think, today.
Yeah,
The
last
old
night.
McDonald's there.
They did open today?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they were open this afternoon. I was
Okay,
by
somebody
there.
said the other day they were open already, and I said, I was by there and it didn't look like it was open.
Yeah, today
so
they had the flags all in
Okay.
front there.
That's on
For
telegram.
gas, yeah, I forgot the price was a little bit higher than down the street, but, yeah, they were open.
What'd they do with the curb cuts?
Curb cuts are still there.
Okay,
They didn't
exactly.
take them so far.
Okay, because it was, the meeting we had with them, Donna, was
That's, I
a
wanted to take
change
one
of
away.
use. You know, one comes in like this and goes around, fuel trucks can circulate around, but they wanted to close both of them up, put one in the middle, and then the big gas trucks come in and make a sharp turn and go around and come back out, make a sharp turn and come back out. And how are you gonna come in off a Telegraph, especially if you're headed
It's
north,
crazy.
and turn and come up and snake around there and just,
Especially with a big gas tanker out there, come on.
so that was a contentious
Well,
meeting.
Mr. Simons just say, screw you guys, I'm doing it anyway.
Wasn't a change in use. It
Right.
wasn't a McDonald's, it's a gas station party store rather than McDonald's gas station. Yeah, but it's a change of use, so you gotta redo. We had 5 different projects that they wanted to change curb cuts on every one of them. And then I said something I shouldn't have said, but I didn't swear, I didn't cuss anybody, didn't call anybody names, some of those things are not received well, but you gotta ask.
Well, it's ridiculous, then you look at their curb cuts over off Telegraph, I mean, it's like a football field long. And they want everybody, you know, along Telegraph, it's a safety issue, they claim, so.
Oh,
At the Harwoods project there, he's gonna get that alley closed out, that's gonna hurt him over there.
Well, that was one of the 5 projects,
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there. That was one. Well, how are fire trucks and delivery trucks gonna circulate here?
They're
Then they
not.
wanted to take
They're
that,
not gonna be able to.
there's curb cuts there, leave them. Why move them? Again, that's just, geez, oh, geez.
It's really not a change of use.
It
It is, but it
It is a
isn't.
change of use, but still, people gotta be able to get it out of there, and right across the street on the other side of Telegraph, there's a curb cut right there.
To
where you
Mr.
wanna
Allen's.
close the one right here.
Yeah,
So why is that? It didn't change use. I said, let me say, no, Mr. Allen's wasn't there when I was a kid, was a long time ago, traffic flows changed, it was a 5-lane road back then, it still is a 5-lane road. These are the kind of things that I said that I probably shouldn't have said, but it just,
I gotta make a point.
And since the Summit Place Mall closed, I'll guarantee you there's less traffic, whether at Christmas time, so.
Not much going
It just, but I'm just saying, there's just, those are the kind of things I said.
Yeah, our project's one of them,
Get
that's
some
gonna take the
rebar.
curb cut away. That's off the Telegraph
That's what
there.
everybody wants for
Rob
Christmas.
from
Can you put a bow on
the
it?
boat place over there,
Yeah.
Airway, he's changed his all around.
Yep, and that was, and then they wanted to move it down to the opposite end to where the hair shop was.
Yes.
Well, that's, so you gotta come in and cut across to go over and get your hair done, they're gonna go out of business if you gotta do that. It just, there's one here and one
Just
here.
give me a topic and
Yeah,
I'll
it
look it
didn't make
up.
no
Was
sense.
Airway Lane since what, 1956 or
Shoot.
57? Okay,
I was just looking at it, I printed a bunch of the ones that I
Want to
thought
change
were
the use, but
interesting.
I
He
think you
he
need
handed
those
us
curb
the
cuts
one.
to get in and
I
out of
don't know
both.
shit.
well, we had, then again, what we had, the Kroger fueling station there. You know, the deceleration
that was
lane, and too
right
close to
there.
the intersections, that, and other thing, and people, there was residents worked up, there was a guy in the planning commission worked up, he almost got
Well,
hit by
yeah.
his bike 10
Yeah.
years ago, and your point is, you almost hit by your bike 10 years ago, Kroger fueling station wasn't here yet, so what's that got to do with you almost getting hit on your bike, you know what I'm saying? But it's just,
He hasn't been there yet.
no, but again, like I said, the deceleration lane and everything, and
And,
after the first year, I had asked Mike Harris, and he got me the reports, and there was no increase in accidents, no increase in fatal accidents, fender benders, nothing. It didn't create any problems there, nothing. If anything, people were slowing down to turn into the gas station. They finally retimed that intersection and cut down on a lot of those accidents.
Oh,
not here, right?
no,
Right.
but if we do nothing, we're good if we.
That's what I thought, no, I
Yeah.
saw that, and I
Yeah.
gathered that, I just wasn't up to speed with it, I mean, you're automatically included if you do
Dave
not.
argued,
Right.
no.
And since we have no interest in taking it on by
He's
ourselves.
gone?
I believe so,
I
yes.
know he moved.
He's moved, so
I mean,
he's
that
off.
makes
yeah.
perfect
Here's
sense.
somebody asked me, you know the guy, Merritt, he's an architect, landscape architect. He was on the planning commission way back in Hoffman days.
He's got to submit a resume.
That's what I told him, but do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
Got the shop over there, Clear Lake Road, Merritt, land.
Oh, yeah, landscape shop, I know, I
He's
don't
told me
know.
that he'd be interested, so give me your resume, submit a resume.
Yep, I got a couple people calling, I told them send me
Okay, so
resumes,
you
so
know,
I got
okay.
an email resume Friday, and I just talked to Larry and said, when we're ready, let me know, I'll call the people and interview them and then make a recommendation to the board, so.
Yeah, he's a landscape architect, so, been around forever, but he's a little different.
Barrett Landscape, I know the landscape company.
But he does, he knows his work.
We're all different.
Yeah, I know,
So it's a roll around.
yep.
and David mentioned something to the planning commission.
Yeah, he supposedly, he originally had left, but it was it was a 2-month thing, so just a temporary,
Yeah.
but then it became permanent, so.
Yeah. No, he was a
I do
pretty,
too,
pretty smart kid.
yeah.
I
New
thought
blood,
a kid, he was a lot younger than I am, but he's very,
new blood, yeah.
educated, and he brought a lot of different things to planning commission.
Well, typically, you don't get people, anybody under 50 or 60.
No, you're right.
They want to be on
No,
commission, because
absolutely.
the younger people are busy,
Mhm.
and it just.
They always see about 38, 40 years old.
I was just in his mid-30s, yeah.
Mid-thirties, yeah. He's an asset, I hate to see him.
Yeah, I do too. So,
Okay, well, if I talk to Mayor, I am,
Yeah, tell him to send me,
Email, yeah, or
tell me
come-
email his resume over, and I can get him in and get interviewed. We'll get it set, because we gotta get that and get it on the board agenda and get the person approved and get him in, so.
Anything else, anybody?
No.
That's a bad thing with the not numbering, you know, end up with a typo.
yeah.
Okay, see you guys at the board meeting.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're on the list that we bound to.